Loral Langiemier, 5-time best-selling author, including her recent Australian bestseller, Yes, Energy. She is a founder and CEO of her international company, Live Out Loud. Due to overwhelmingly demand to educate Australians on money, she now not only has international offices, but she also has an office in Sydney, Australia. She accelerates the conversation about money, sharing how not to just survive this tough economic climate, but how to succeed and thrive by creating new cash. She is Dr. Phil's money expert and a star of the internationally acclaimed movie, The Secret. I'm gonna let the video tell the rest of her story, so let's check it out.
I'm speaking with Loral Langiemier.
Loral Langiemier.
Loral Langiemier.
She's a self-made millionaire and she's on a mission in Australia. 5-time best-selling author and resident money expert to Dr. Phil, Loral Langiemier, believes that when it comes to financial independence, us gals can have it all.
Known as the millionaire maker, she's passionate about educating others on creating extra income, regardless of their situation. And with almost a third of small businesses in Australia being owned by women, I didn't know that, she's determined to spread the word on wealth.
Loral, welcome to Australia and the coast. As part of your visit to Australia, what are you aiming to help people with the most?
I want them to say yes more. And coming from America in this global financial crisis, no has become the new conversation.
What do you mean by yes energy, Loral?
So yes energy, it's a commitment. It's like a way of life. So you say yes and then figure out how. Versus most people who don't get what they want, they're trying to figure everything out and then they say yes. So without the commitment, figuring out how is just a lot of work, it's a lot of struggle. And then also, I think so many people say, especially now, say, well, no, I can't afford it. Well, no, I can't do that. No, I don't want to do that. No, I don't have time. It's all rubbish.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, as it gets tough, and if it goes here as fast as it did in America, they have got to learn to create money. That's why when you say when, start now. You have to start now. You've just got to say yes to whatever it is that you know you can do.
So pick one area, and if you don't want to pick the money area, I'm fine with that. Pick a health area, pick a relationship area, pick some space in your life where you can start saying yes and start having that positive, a positive impact and positive result.
How are you? Good. All right, if you want to make money, stand up. Come on, I see some people. I'll come down there and get you. Come on, stand up if you want to make some money. If you want to be poor, I'm sure there's a different convention center in town. How are you, Brisbane? It's great to be here. I've been here all week. I just got back from Perth. They have some hot stuff out there. Oh man, it's so good. How many of you want to really make money? Yes. How many of you currently make money every day?
Not enough.
Not enough. I love that answer, right? There's always more to have, right? How many of you are entrepreneurs? Like you're pure-blooded, you'd never think of having a job in your whole life. It'd be like dying if you had to have a job. And how many of you have jobs? How many of you, when I show you, keep your hand up. When I show you how to make more money than your job, would you quit your job? How many of you are so in love with your job you have to stay? We'll have a little therapy later. All right, so the reason you're standing, how many of you have ever seen me before? Oh, quite a few. All right, cool. So you know why you're standing then. For those that have seen me, we do a quiz. And as you flunk the quiz, you sit down, okay? And you can't stand back up. I have all these items over here on the stage. All right, so let's see. The quiz is based on The Millionaire Maker. Anybody read my books? Not yet. You're my new friend, because you're going to read my books, right? I'm called The Millionaire Maker for a reason. I've made thousands of millionaires. My fastest millionaire is 152 days. Wow. Yeah, give that up, huh? 9 months is easy. And then those of you who have jobs, 120 days, I'll help you quit. Fantastic. Don't you love that? Yeah, so if you want financial freedom, real financial freedom, and those of you, once we sit down and you flunk, because you will, some of you, then you will start writing some notes. So those of you, and I'll repeat it later, but those of you who have jobs, you do not have fixed potential, do you?
I do not have what?
Fixed potential. No, so then why do you live on a fixed income? Right? You guys get it? All right, you ready to have some fun? All right, So the quiz, it starts, well, this is what we're going to chat about. We're going to chat about Yes Energy. I'm the first American who came over and did an Australian bestseller. So outside of like Wayne Dyer. So we were 7 weeks running and we still are at the top of the charts right next to the Hunger Games in Australia. When I say yes, I mean say yes and figure out how to get stuff done. How many of you have done that before in your life? You said yes and just figured it out. I was going to say a little cuss word, but I'll be nice today. Right? So you just figure it out. And then you feel like you're going to get sick and throw up, and then all of a sudden it kind of sorts itself out, doesn't it? Right? I think the most successful entrepreneurs say yes and figure things out. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how do you be yes and how do you become a millionaire by saying yes all the time. And there's no no's in your conversation. So there's 7 things as you read my book, because you're all going to. Yep, okay. You guys like that, don't you? Yeah. So there's 7 things that create a millionaire. And so let's go through them and see who's ready in this audience. The first is your relationship to money. So if you don't feel like you have a yes energy relationship to money, which means you'll say yes, you'll figure things out, you'll do, what I call crazy things, but really like smart things. You're diversified in your portfolio. You never whine about money. You don't care that, you have some leverage. Like you really are about yes. You have a great team around you. You don't have people in your life that are negative. So opposite of that, and if you're any of this, starts having a seat. If you are anxious about money, if you say no and make excuses, if you tolerate, if you have people in your life that are negative, sit down, because you haven't cleaned that up yet. Right? There we go. You need to get that all cleaned up. Today's the day. All right, so after you have a yes energy relationship to money, you have to know where you are. You got to know your starting point. You have to know your income, your expenses, your cash flow, your assets, liability, net worth. If you don't know that within a couple $100, have a seat. Okay? The next one, Freedom Day. Now, the Australians have the best definition of retirement. When you look up retirement in the dictionary, it's the worst definition. How many of you ever want to retire? Okay, we're never going to use that word. We're going to use my new word. It's called Freedom Day. So retirement, according to the dictionary, means it's an agricultural word that means to put the cattle to pasture, to retire and die. Like nobody's looked, isn't that a horrible definition? Like who wants to retire? So if you ever hear anybody retire, you've got to get on this bandwagon with me and you got to like get people straight about their language. They're not going to retire. They're going to be free. Is that a deal? You'll take on changing people's conversation. My whole company is called Live Out Loud. And it's about changing this conversation about money. So we don't use retirement, we use the word Freedom Day. I don't use the word budgets, because budgets are like diets. No one's doing those either, right? And then another word that I think is just despicable is savings. You don't save, you invest, or you spend, and you purposely use your cash. Savings is like a wimpy little way to put money in a bucket, and then if you need something kind of casually, you pull it out. Wealthy people spend very, very strategically, we invest strategically, and our money's allocated very strategically. Okay, so you're going to help me change these words? Yes? Did you go away? Just because you sat down, you can still talk. All right, so Freedom Day. If you don't know your monthly need for cash flow, so I always say a Freedom Day, and it can also happen whenever you want. By the way, my son's 13, he was a millionaire at 10. Yeah, how about that? So if you want rich kids, I know how to have that happen. It's so fun. And they're the smartest little things. God, they're good. Actually, the teenagers are smarter than you are. Do you know that? We just aren't raising them properly. So I do a 3-day workshop that you're all going to turn up to. You just haven't signed up yet. That was funny. Come on. And you can bring any teenager for free. If you don't have one, borrow one, because we need to change the next generation. It's so critical. And what I also know about Freedom Day is you can do it at any time. And there's no too young or too old. But Freedom Day is based not on cash, it's on cash flow. So how much cash flow do you need every month to do what you want to do? So is it $5,000 a month consistently, $10,000 a month, $20,000 a month? How much do you really need every month to say, I'm financially free? If you don't know that number, have a seat. And if you do know the number, yell out your Freedom Day number. 10, 10, 140, 140, 20, 10. Come on, yell them out back there. You got to talk to me. If you don't want to sit in the back, come on up here to the front. There's a whole bunch of seats. Yell them out. 25. So we're somewhere between 5 and 140s, I heard. All right? So the next one, whoops, is, oh, our numbers aren't working. That's interesting. It's a new numbering system in America, must be. So the fourth, I think it's just our PC connection. Anyway, whatever. Relationship to debt. On your way to millionaire status. And one of the biggest gifts that I'm going to share with you today is that I am from America, and we've just lived through the greatest depression. They keep calling it a recession. It is the greatest depression our country has ever seen. And it's a slow walkout. It's a brilliant walkout, actually. But millionaire status has never been faster than today, worldwide. UK and America have had the worst. You guys haven't had it that bad. The Canadians haven't had it that bad. But the 3 to 5 year millionaire plan that I write about in this book is faster than you've ever wanted it if you want it. How many of you want to be millionaires? And if you're already a millionaire, how many want to go like at least 5 to 10? And then 10 to 20, you know how you start doubling then. It's quite nice. It works. Yeah. So when you become a fast millionaire, it isn't fast like it's scary and risky. It's fast because you're smart and you're with really smart people who have done it, and we've walked that path for you. So 3 to 5 years is going to happen if you're willing to take on good debt. So I'm going to have you leverage a little on the way up. For those of you that are unwilling to leverage, have a seat. I would highly doubt you'd be in this room if you knew anything about Jamie's financial education. So you're all good. Okay, perfect. The next one, I'm going to teach you how to make some money. We're going to talk about constant cash and that yes energy and on your way to millionaire status. But as you make money, you've got to keep your money. And every country in the world has corporate structure. And the first thing I did when I came over and opened Live Out Loud Australia is in 2007. So I've been operating in Australia since 2007 as a proprietary limited trust. I have everything structured here, like I do in America, Mexico, and Canada. So I'm very international in the way that I work and invest and play. I call it play because it's fun. So if you're unwilling to take on corporate structure, I don't care what country you live in, have a seat. Another way to answer that, if you're still a sole trader and you have no other tax protection, have a seat. If you don't understand the question, have a seat. All right. Now the next one is our money's got to make money. So you've heard a lot about, we call it land banking in America, what Stephen just talked about. I love land banking. I own a lot of land. I like land more than, well, I like it just as much as cash flow homes, but there's no tenants on land. That's funny, by the way. Any of you that have ever had tenant problems? Right? Land doesn't have tenants. You kind of get it? Not really. Okay, we'll work on humor later. I'm in a mining project here in Australia. I do gas and oil in America. I own 42 companies in America. I've done 1,000 real estate transactions. Did you guys sort that all out? I've done a lot of stuff. I love it. And my money makes money. So as you make money, your money's got to make money. So I want you having a double-digit portfolio. And here in Australia, it's so much easier than in America to have a double-digit portfolio. That means 10% or more on an annual rate of return. If you don't have a plan for that, have a seat. It doesn't have to be there yet, but if you have no plan for a double-digit return in a portfolio, have a seat. And as you heard me in my video, I say to you, that's when you got to get off your lazy assets and move them. That was funny too. I'm going to teach you humor. You know why I use a lot of humor and talk about money? Is Bob Proctor was a mentor of mine for 22 years, a long time. And he always told me, you know, money, sex, and God, no one's willing to talk about it. So I figured I'm going to talk about one of those conversations. And actually, I think we talk a lot about God in our conversations too. So money, most people don't talk about. And so I just bring a little humor to it because you got to start talking about it. And you better bring it home to your kids. How many of you are parents? How many of you have conversations at home? How many have family meetings about money? Good. Got to. All right. Last one is team and leadership. You cannot do this by yourself. So the biggest excuse that I hear about people that are wanting to be millionaires, wanting to get out of their job, learning to invest. By the way, what creates the money for you to invest with? All day we've been talking about investing. So I'm your money girl. I'm the one that's going to teach you how to make a lot of cash. So the cash in your business creates the money for you to invest, right? So what's the first step in the sequence? Is it investing and learning to invest, or does it making some money? You got to make the money to have the money to invest with. And I can tell you the one thing that held millionaires or people successful that didn't go into foreclosure in America is their ability to create cash. If you do not have an ability to create your own money, you are putting yourself and your family at the greatest risk of your lives, I think. And I've got a little bit of experience about that. Does that make sense? All right? So the excuse I hear is, I don't have enough time. Well, time's time, and there's nothing you're going to do about time. We all have the same clock worldwide. So how you use your time, and you've heard all this before, but how you use your time is one of the most critical things you do. And where do you think you could get the most time back? If you look at all the places in your life that you use time, where's the biggest expense of your time? No, sleeping's a good thing. Watching TV is a waste of your time. Where do you watch TV? In your home. So is your collective home, and managing a home, especially if you have children, one of the biggest uses of your time? From cooking to cleaning to laundry to running errands, right? Doesn't it take a lot to manage a household? From landscaping, all that stuff just takes time, doesn't it? So, and even if you're single and you live in an apartment, I'd rather have the thing dirty than you like waste your time cleaning it. Rich people don't clean toilets. Oh, good, you're getting the humor part of that. Like, got a little humor there, right? So if you have no home help at all, have a seat. If you have no help in your home. And men, your wife does not count. Yeah. I always say, you know, you want to marry your bride and hire a wife. That was funny too. You guys just aren't. Okay, we'll have to work on your humor. All right, so how many people are standing? Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So about 12 people. I don't know how many people here. What do you think? 300, 400 are here? So the rest of you got to get with it. All right, so give these 12 or so a hand for being the most ready to create a millionaire status. So what would you like to learn, given the little bit that you've seen that I could teach you? What do you need? Secret. What kind of secret? You want to know the secrets of money, like how to do it? Okay, so some how-tos, got it? What else? What? Work-life balance. So you have one life, you're going to put it together. So one of the things that I think women do it the most is you try to have a personal life and a professional life. You have a life, so let's just integrate the whole thing and sort it out, all right? So I bring my kids with me all the time. So this trip, they didn't come with me, I noticed. Yep, I saw that baby back there. Some of you go, oh, I wish somebody would have that baby be quiet. I am talking right to that baby's brain. It's absorbing more than you are. Yeah, so good, so you're getting it, right? So I don't think you have work-life balance. I think you get to have it all. So I'll just answer that question. I think you get to have it all. I think the lie is that you think you're going to have it all at the same time, right? Like right now I'm having it all. I love doing this work. I do this work because I love this work, right? And I'm sharing with you, and I'm here with you, and I'll be with you through the evening, right? But when I'm home, and tomorrow I'll be home, I'm on the lake. I live in Lake Tahoe, Nevada, and I'll be jet skiing with my son, right? Guys, get it? So when I'm with my daughter, so I have a 6-year-old and a 13-year-old. I'm a single mom. So all of you who have little dramas and stories that you can't get it done, it's all a story. You can do whatever you want, the way you want, because you want. You guys get it? Okay, so everybody take a little notepad out. Just remember, if you don't have a little notepad, if you want to get something done, you got to take some notes, because I talk fast and I'm going to download a lot of content. You guys ready? Yes? You got to talk to me, with me. I'm not one of those speakers who are going to talk at you. We're going to like chat while this camera guy follows me around. Hi, guys. So, all right. I've always said yes in my life. I'll give you a little bit of history outside of the video. I grew up in a farm in Nebraska, which is in the middle of nowhere, America. We didn't even have gravel roads. We had dirt roads. You know there's a big difference, right? Yeah. So when you grow up in a dirt road, it's because the county doesn't have enough money to put gravel on the dirt road. So you always have to drive around 4-wheel drives. I've drove since I was 7 years old. It's hysterical, right? We tease my parents. I'll go back up there so I can see more of you. We tease my parents that the only reason they had all of us children, because there's millions of us, it felt like, is because we had to do chores. Anybody grow up like that? And then we were told most of our life that rich people were bad and you had to work really hard for money. Anybody have those kind of conversations when they grew up? Right? How many of you still have those little dramas going on and think that's the truth? No? Yeah, you got to leave that behind. And any of you that have any excuses around how you grew up, you're an adult now. You have all the choices in the world you can make to do whatever you want and create the life that you want. So that's saying yes. So I've always said yes, and I figured things out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share some of those stories with you, not just to talk about them, but I'm going to embed a lot of lessons that I think you should be taking on as success lessons. Is that all right? And then as I talk about my yes moments, I want you to think about your yes moments. When have you said yes and figured it out? And the reason I want you to recall those moments is there's a lot of things you were doing that were working. So if things aren't working for you, I would bet you've left some of those things behind. So I want you to recall some of your greatest yes moments of your life when you've said yes, things were working, money was going on, like things were awesome. And then I also want you to think about when did you start saying no? Because I would bet at some point you did start saying no. And here's how no happens to most people's lives. You start compromising. Does that make sense? So, and compromise looks like this, right? If you're straight ahead, full on, living fully in your power, totally authentic, integrated life, right? And then all of a sudden, a situation happens, and then you compromise, and you only said, well, it's only like a couple degrees, right? And then all of a sudden you get used to that. But it's really not the truth, and it's not authentic, it's not who you are. And then another situation comes along, and then you compromise again. So over the course of maybe even 3 or 4 years, your whole life is spun around. You wonder why the whole damn thing doesn't work. It's because you're out of integrity to who you really are. So where I want you thinking about yes is purely living in your authentic energy and your power. Because when you live there, for those of you who are living there now, what do you notice about money? It comes easily. It comes easily, it comes frequently, and it's always around. That makes sense? Yes or no? How many of you want that kind of ease in your life? Yeah. Well, it's interesting because a lot of people are so attached to their stories and dramas, they'd rather have drama, because God forbid you live a drama-free life. Right? Then you don't have nothing to whine about. I guess you call it whinging, right? You don't have anything to whinge about. Your language is so much better than ours in America, by the way. It is so much better. All right, so I grew up in this little farm in Nebraska. I was hoping that I would leave sometime soon. So at 17, I graduated from high school early. But everyone in our family had to do something to get themselves through university because my parents didn't have enough money to do it. So most of us became athletes. So I became a basketball player in college, and I had a job for like a few minutes. I'm really bad at having jobs, can you imagine? Me taking orders from somebody. I was kind of mouthy, I'd get fired. It was just not working out. So can you imagine that? So I started my own business doing aerobics instruction and personal training. So I thought I can figure that out, and I want to work for like 40, 50 bucks an hour, not, you know. In America, minimum wage is $8. Can you believe it? People live on that. It's astounding. Even in my late teens, I couldn't figure that out, why people would live on such little money. So I made a lot of money. I played a lot. And at 24 years old, I had got a finance degree and a master's in exercise physiology. And I put those 2 degrees together, and I would do statistical analysis on unhealthy employees. So I became quite valuable to large corporations, teaching them about how to get their people healthy so they'd save millions and millions of dollars. So Chevron, which is a gas and oil company, invited me to move to New Orleans and design 272 fitness centers on offshore oil rigs. Well, I didn't know that the dialect in the South in America is so thick. You know, the Southern people in America, they talk really slow. So whenever I go to the South to talk, they say, Miss Loral, would you please slow down? I said, would you please speed up? Because I have a lot to say and you're slow. Anyway, so I teased. But when they called me, they said, would you work on an offshore oil rig? I said, a what? And remember, I grew up in a farm country. I didn't know what an oil rig was. It was gas and oil, right? That's how we'd say it. But they kept saying oil. I said, oil? Like, what? They said, an oil rig. And yeah, you'd fly around in helicopters. I thought, well, still didn't understand the whole thing. But remember, I'm 24, I'm single, and New Orleans is the biggest party city next to Las Vegas in America. So I thought, I'll just go have fun on them. So I took this trip to New Orleans, and I got off the plane, and they picked me up, and they put on those like great big blue jumpsuit things and steel-toed shoes and those cute little hard hats and the little glasses, and off we go in a helicopter. I'm thinking, shit. My God, where are we going? And so we're flying around. I have never seen this place before. I didn't have a clue what it looked like. And it took 45 minutes for them to offer me this multi-million-dollar contract. They said, well, you do 272 fitness centers on offshore oil rigs. And I said, oh, absolutely. Right? So when's your first moment that you said yes like that? And I remember thinking, how am I ever going to do this? Now, I want you, those of you taking notes, here's your first note is say yes and figure out how. I want you to live that every day. And I want you to live it so much, like right now, you could say yes and figure out how. I already told you that you're going to go to my workshop. By the way, since you're taking notes, write these 2 dates down. October 18, 19, and 20, I'm going to be in Sydney. I only do my workshops in Sydney. My whole team's there, my staff's there. We bring a lot of crew. So 18, 19, 20 of October, and then March 7, 8, 9. And I haven't picked my June dates, but I do this workshop 3 times in Australia and 12 times in America. So you have 15 choices when you want to come. You can use your ticket anytime. And for every paying adult, you bring a teenager. For free. Okay? Got you. So when you turn up to the workshop, because you're going to, I want you, and what I was going to say is, like, you really can make that decision today. And one of the biggest excuses that I hear about people that don't really live a yes life is you have excuses and stories about why it doesn't work. And if you haven't become a millionaire yet, I would say today is the day that you make that decision, isn't it? Seriously. Right? So notice what goes on behind it. Well, I can't do this, and I got this, and I have obligations. But a lot of those obligations are actually the noise that's in front of you. Right? It's the reason that you haven't just cleaned house. In a lot of my mentoring, I always tell people they need to purge their life. You have so much noise and chaos and obligations to things that create nothing. Does that make sense? Like, I promise, I know you all have really busy lives, but are they productive? Productive means money every day, right? So I want you thinking about where are you saying yes and where are you saying no. So my next big yes moment, so I moved to New Orleans and I did that thing. I did 272 fitness centers. Now, say yes, figure out how has a next additive language to it. It's say yes and figure out who knows how. That's really the truth, isn't it? Entrepreneurs and great entrepreneurs broker deals. So I didn't know how to get it done. So we're flying back on the helicopter, and I looked to the engineer who gave me the contract, and I said, so who actually bid on this contract that knows how to do it? Because I know that you know, I don't know how to get it done. You're betting on my leadership and my courage and my strength of knowing to get stuff done. You're giving me the contract because you know I can execute. You know I don't have a clue how to get this done. So he told me the engineering crew, who they didn't give the job to, they didn't trust to get it done because they said they probably planned too much and never get it done on time, on budget. But we know you're going to kick their rear. Didn't really say it like that. And get it done. So I want you thinking about the things that you do that you shouldn't be doing that slow you down. So say yes, figure out who knows how, means somebody else should be doing half of the things that you're doing. So in my Yes Energy book at the bottom, the subtitle is called The Equation to Do Less and Make More. So do less isn't like be lazy and sit on the couch. Do less is do less of the tasks that you're no good at, that you procrastinate. Why do people procrastinate? There's only 2 reasons. Yell it out. They what? They don't know how to do it, right? So you procrastinate the things you don't know how, or you're not very good at, and there's one other reason. A little bit, fear of success or failure. You just don't want to do it, right? Isn't that part of it? Like, there's a lot of stuff I know how to do. At this point in my career, in my life, I don't want to do it anymore. Like, I'm really good at finance and accounting. I don't want to do it. Can you imagine me doing invoices? What a waste of my time, right? I need to hire that. So I'm going to give you a couple homework things. You guys willing to take on some homework so we get some action? I want you to take on a list. And you know what a T-chart is, where you draw a line and draw something down the center? And on one side, the left side, I want you to write the words, do less of this. And then on the right side, I want you to write, do more of this. And over the next week, I want you to really pay attention to what you do every day. Because I would bet you're going to come up with quite a list of all these things that you shouldn't be doing. Cleaning your house, ladies and gentlemen, is one of them. You have no time to clean your house if you're serious about becoming a millionaire. Right? And I know right behind that you say, but I can't afford a housekeeper. Then have the thing be dirty for a while. I don't care. But you got to get to the right activities. Right? Do you need to do your laundry? No. Do you need to cook outside of the weekends? Like my son is the most amazing little cook. But during the day and during the week, most of you probably eat junk food or eat crappy food because you're not being fed properly. And I can promise you a personal chef is only $300, $400, $500 a month. It's cheap. You say, oh my God, that's expensive. No, it's not. Not when you can make $500 in an hour. Some of you say, but I'm not doing that yet. I know. But when are you going to free yourself up to learn how to be a proper entrepreneur? You're supposed to say, today. Right now. Right now we're doing it. All right. So your activity is to organize. Just watch how much you do during the day that you should really, and you don't have to do it immediately, but get the list going of the things that you need to stop doing and give it away. And what you're going to notice is there's only 3 to 5 things that will be on your keep doing list. All of you are only good, like really good, at 3 to 5 things. And if you ask any successful millionaire, multimillionaire, we only do 3 to 5 things. We delegate everything else. So the say yes, figure out who knows how is who's going to get stuff done. You guys ready? You got it? Okay. The next thing happened, I was at Chevron. I moved to San Francisco. I worked in corporate headquarters, and I started doing these fitness centers on refineries and pipelines. I was working all these blue-collar environments. I went to Papua New Guinea, went to Angola, and then Kazakhstan was my defining moment. They drink vodka all day long. They're drunk all day. They're the craziest people to work with. Sorry if you're from Kazakhstan, but I'll never go back to that country unless you make me. You couldn't even pay me enough money. But I called Chevron. I said, I'm done. I'm done, I'm done, I'm done. That was the most crazy job that I ever did, building a fitness center in Kazakhstan. So what the hell was I thinking? Right? It was one of those stupid saying, yes, oh, sure, I'll do it. Anyway, it was a crazy moment. They paid me a lot of money, but some things aren't worth money anymore. So I was looking for my path out of this prison called Chevron. Anybody in their job that feels like a prison? Only a few of you? Oh, come on. Yeah, you got to go. You got to get out of there. So I'm going to help you. 120 days. Just give me 120 days, and I'll help you get out of there. So I had Bob Proctor in my life at that point. He said, Laura, you got to quit. I said, well, what am I going to do? And he said, I'm going to introduce you to Robert Kiyosaki. I said, okay. I don't know who he was. And he had Rich Dad Poor Dad, right? You know him? And so they had the cash flow game, but they had the Rich Dad Poor Dad book that they hadn't really launched. And they wanted to focus on the book. And I said, well, what are you going to do with that game? It's awesome. And they said, we don't have time for that. And I said, I'll do that. And Sharon Lechter, we were in her house with Robert and Sharon. And they said, so you're going to distribute our game into the nation? I said, oh, yeah. So whenever you say yes, there's sort of this like part of you that knows you're lying, right? Not that you're lying, but you're kind of fibbing because you actually don't know, again, what to do. How many of you have really done this in your life? I mean, but don't you like living like that? It's a little risky. It's kind of fun. The rest of you, you're going to take on this energy. You're going, oh my God, I got to know everything. See, the problem is, for those of you who haven't taken say yes, figure out how on, your problem is you're trying to figure out how before you commit, and it doesn't work like that. Right? Because somebody else already knows how. So start looking at the right direction. This is probably the thing that I am the most gifted in transitioning my gift to you is this word, so write it down. It's called sequencing. Is you got to do the right stuff in the right order. Does that make sense? Like the right stuff in the right order makes things easy. A lot of you, I promise, I know you probably do a lot of the right stuff, but if it's not in the right order, you're not getting the result. You're just working hard. Anybody feel like that? Like you're working too hard for your cash? You're not talking to me anymore? Come on. Yeah. So it's what Kiyosaki calls the rat race. So Sharon Lechter is still one of my very, very dear friends. And she's so cute because she teases me now. She said, you remember that day? 1996 was this when they gave me this contract. So she said, I remember you sitting at our kitchen table and you said yes to doing that game and you had no clue what you were doing. I said, then why'd you give it to me? She said, because I knew you had guts. I said, okay. So we did. So for 5 years, I did that. And that got me out of Chevron. And then I quit my job. But before I quit my job, I got really stubborn because I was making a lot of money with Kiyosaki. I was making a lot of money at Chevron. I thought I can kind of straddle. You know, straddling is one foot's in your job because you're really scared of quitting because it feels like you're going to jump off a cliff. Here's the truth for those of you who have jobs. You're not jumping off a cliff. You're just jumping off a little curb. It just feels like a cliff, right? And any of you that have interesting behaviors, kind of a nice way to say them, is that you hold on to odd things that you're compromising around because they feel safe. Like some of the investing strategies that you hear about. Like I have done land. The coolest land deal I've done is in Cerritos Beach, Mexico. It's the biggest surfer community. We've built condos there. We're in the process of building a tequila distillery as the main attraction to have people come up and drink tequila. They like that in Mexico. Not so much, but whatever. It works. People buy it. But so we've said yes to that. Like I didn't know how to do business in Mexico. I didn't know how to do business in Australia when I moved over here. Like really properly. So when you say yes and figure out who knows how, people are always going to be there to help you. You've got to stop figuring out how so hard and stop working so hard and get the sequence right. So I was straddling my job and this opportunity with Kiyosaki. And Bob Proctor, I just paid him $25,000 to mentor me. And he said, well, Laura, you got to quit your job or we can't do anything else. And I said, well, I'm not going to quit my job. And he said, then you're fired. I said, you can't fire me. I paid you a lot of money. And here's his key words, and I want you to write this down because we're going to head down this path with me, is he said, I'm working and you're not. I said, well, I'm doing almost everything you say. And in America, we call that voting. So when you vote, you're saying yes and no to things, as if you know. See, I know a lot of you are sitting in the audience right now saying yes or no to things that I'm saying to you. And here's what I would challenge you with, is I have become a millionaire many, many, many times over. I was a millionaire in 34. I've never done one of those like total breakdown things. I don't think you ever have to if you did it right the first time. Right? Those people who have those little drama stories. Oh, I became a millionaire, lost it all, made it all back. Well, you better make it all back. God, you could figure it out once, you figure it out again. I would rather take all my knowledge and share it with you. I've done a lot of real estate. I love buying businesses. What Australians don't know about that I'm bringing to you is everyone knows about America Properties. We bring tons of people over to America to buy real estate, all sorts of it. But I also can teach you how to buy companies. Now, here's the thing, is in America, companies are free because they're bankrupt. So you buy broken little companies, right? You've all heard of the fix and flip real estate. I love fixing and flipping businesses. I've done so much in real estate. That whole side of my life's built. I love businesses now. So that's kind of my new fun thing. I've been doing that for years. But like they're free. I had a pizzeria I got for free. I flipped it in 4 months, made 42%. I have a salon. I'm not flipping it. I think I'm going to keep it. It cash flows quite well. Do I know anything about running a hair salon? No. I know how to run companies. So my goal is to teach you how to run a proper company so you can do all these fun things. It doesn't have to be all property-centric, mining-centric, share-centric. That should be part of it. But businesses are fun, and they're very, very fast and very high returns. I mean, obscene returns. Isn't that fun? This guy is so good. So when I quit my job, Bob fired me, and I said, you can't fire me, and I was voting. And so I want to challenge you to not vote today about what I'm saying. I just want you to do what I say. See, I love that you think that's funny. Right? So here's the truth, and this is honest from my heart. I know how to fix you if you need fixing. And here's what you have to say is, do you have the result you want in your life? Yes or no? No. So do you get a vote if you haven't had the success yet? No, but at some point you got to pick a mentor and you got to pick a coach. I've had mentors and coaches since I was 17 years old. I have never lived without them. I have 3 this year. I've spent over $100,000 on them. You say, why would I need them now? Because I'm setting Live Out Loud up into an international structure. I just licensed in Japan, Indonesia. We're about to license in Brazil. So I'm taking my work in the world so everyone can have a better conversation about money, right? So I hired the guys from the Covey organization who took Covey to 118 countries, right? So I've done that kind of stuff. So I'm not sharing that to brag it. I'm just saying you better be doing that stuff too. So who's working with you? Who's helping you that it has the result? A lot of you, you'll say, well, I have a coach. I'll say, are they a millionaire? And you'll say, no, that's why you're wasting your time. That would be that part you're supposed to tell me something? What? True, right? Okay, so I'm going to give you a whole list of things to do. Are you up for it? You're going to do everything I say. How come that S? You can't say maybe. That's so cute. Here's what's so cute. Like, if I give you 10 things to do that will guarantee that you'll make money, would you do all 10? Yes. What if you don't like to do or know good at 3 or 4 of them? No, you're not going to learn how to do it. You're going to hire somebody to do it or partner somebody to do it. You guys get it? So where I want you thinking, instead of disqualifying and voting, think about it like this. I have no need to withhold anything that would help you, right? I don't. Why would I withhold? I want to help you. I want you to become millionaires. So if I give you 10 things to do, where I want you thinking, and it's really important because you all wake up, come on, pay attention. You guys all like, this is critical. All the things I've said, I'm going to tell you everything to do. Okay? You need to write down next to those things, mine, someone else's. Mine, someone else's. You guys get it? See, what happens is if you don't start realizing that you have to delegate, because like I'm going to tell you, you have got to have a website. You have got to figure out how to get online and make money every day. Our website makes money every day. Every day while I sleep, we make money online. Do I know how to do any of that? No. It's interesting. I could waste my time learning, right? But I don't want to. So when I say you need to have a sales team, you're going to say, oh, but I'm no good at sales. I didn't say you had to do it. You guys getting it? Yes or no? See, a lot of beginning entrepreneurs or middle-sized entrepreneurs, you start discounting yourself and saying, well, I don't know how to do those things, Loral, so I can't do it. That's not true, right? I don't know how to do half the things. I've learned a lot, you got to imagine, but I don't know how to do them in the little details. And a lot of you don't move forward in your life to becoming a great entrepreneur because you keep doing too much. So how would you like to make money, do less, make more, and have a hell of a lot more fun? And only hang out with cool people. Now, what's interesting about this room is the majority of you sat down because you're compromising hanging out with crappy people. You know there were supposed to be thousands of people here today. Where are they? Already giving up on themselves. Right? They have a story and a drama that something else is more important than getting their financial life in order. Right? Really important you guys get that straight. So when we talk about firing negative people, like I would put that at the top of your list. If I was so the first thing I would put number 1, get rid of negative people in my life. You say, I know some of you would say, and what if they're my family? Because I have them. My family in Nebraska, they don't much know what I do. They said, do you still travel around and talk to people? That's what they think I do. I said, yeah, I still travel around and talk to people. I have 5 New York Times bestsellers. And I gave my family all the books except for the last one. And they said, well, how come you didn't give us one of those books? I said, because you don't read them. And they said, yeah, but we like to have them. I said, why? So you can brag about your successful daughter and sister and cousin? I said, you're all cute, but you don't want to get rich. I said, when you're rich, let me know. Then I'll give you a book. I said, right now, go buy yourself a book. I did, and I didn't give it to him this time. So I took a little bit of my own advice. I thought, why am I keep giving things to people? It's totally out of integrity of what I teach you guys to do. If they don't care, so. All right, so here's really how you're going to fire people. So right under that number 1, here's how you're going to do it. So there's a very graceful way. Because I kind of make fun and joke like it's tough, but it's really not. I want you to find a lot of people here in the next few days, and they can become accountability partners with you. As you join our community at Live Out Loud, and I'm here a lot, you can use the workshop here. You can come to America. I have some great Australian stories of our Australians coming to America to the workshop. But get really committed to being with people who want this conversation. And so what I want you to think about is, when is the time you're with the negative people in your life? Usually on what, Friday night after work? So what you're going to do is you're going to replace that time with this time, where you're going to be with positive people. I have a game, it's called the Millionaire Maker game. It's far better than that cash flow game. So play the Millionaire Maker game every Friday night, right? Have a family meeting with your family on that time. But replace the negative people in your life with this kind of conversation. And then all of a sudden, how long do you think it's going to take before you're just not available? You're not available. You're not available. They're going to call and ask you to come, out and do whatever you guys used to do, and you're not available. How many times do you think how many weeks do you think it is before they stop calling you? 2 to 3. Yeah, it's not going to be more than a month, and they'll be out of your life. Okay, so that's the first and most important things. Those of you that are going to quit your job, like I quit. So I did go quit my job. Because Bob, when he fired me, I did my little thing. I said, well, I'm going to charge my card back, and you're going to give me my money back. And I played that little whiny thing for a while. And he said, no, you're really not. You signed a contract. And I'm going to hold you to it. And, I had to, get over that little arrogance for a moment and say, you know what, he's really right. And he promised me, and I just trusted him. And he used these words, and this is one of the words I'd use for you. I'm going to believe in you until you believe in you. Right? So Bob believed in me more than I believed in me. And I can promise every one of you, I believe in you more. And you say, well, you don't know me very well. I know. But it doesn't matter. I only have to know you for a few minutes, and I could see your potential beyond what you could see. Like all of you, I say there's money at your feet. You just don't know how to pick it up. Some of you thought that was funny. How many of you know that? I know there's money. How many of you have customers in the past in some business? When's the last time you've called them? There's money right there today in the next hour. You could go out and call. I can do a 12-minute coaching session with any of my clients, and they could make 200, 300, 400, 500, or thousands. I have one woman who works with, she's Les Brown's manager. You guys know Les Brown? She's one of my clients. I gave her a 12-minute coaching session. She made $2,500 in the next 10 minutes. Right? Because a lot of you are busy. You're not doing the right stuff. So you got to do the right stuff. Clear. So Bob, in his believing in me, said, your annual income with Chevron will become your monthly income and then your daily income if you just quit. And I just did it. And guess what? He was right. In the next, not even 90 days, I made what I made at Chevron. And then my biggest, when my daily income went to $985,000 in a 90-minute session, that was kind of a good day. And that was within less than a year of quitting. But I can promise you, thank you. All right, so it's about $1 million in a day. And I hadn't even been out of Chevron for a year. So some of you that are holding on to your secured salaries, you gotta let yourself run. All of you have such an ability to make money, and then you get to invest in all this fun stuff we talk about. But if you don't know how to make money, and here's how cool making cash is and how confident making cash is. And we're gonna do this sometime. Maybe, is Nick in the room, Nick Halleck? I know he's gonna talk to you guys tomorrow, but like, here's one of my favorite things we gotta do, is do one of his trillionaire runs. We're gonna come and we're gonna take a bunch of you, if you're all really willing, because I know I wanna do this someday. We're gonna put you in any country in the world that you wanna be dropped, and you'll make money in an hour if you do everything I say. I make money every day, anytime. You can challenge me, I'll make it in a minute. On the flight over, not this flight, but the last trip over to Australia, I'm here about every month to 6 weeks. I was on Via Australia, and I love Via Australia. I love Branson's style. He puts a bar in the middle of the airplane. Right? I don't mind the whole bar thing as much, but I love the networking, because 8 to 10 people can stand around that little bar. And I saw these guys get on, and they were talking about the golf tournaments and that they'd been sponsoring and how much business they had been doing. So I watched when they went back to the little bar, and I just went right back there with them, you know? And I said, hi, how are you guys? What do you guys do? And they told me what they did. And I said, yeah, I teach people how to make money. And they're like, yeah, well, we're already really rich. I said, yeah, but you make money every day? And they said, like what? And I said, well, I just wrote a New York Times best-selling book. It's #1 in Australia. I said, I'll send you all one for $10. 8 of them, $10, $80. I said, just like that is how I make money. They're like, that was really good. I said, I know, you need to learn that. And they said, well, we make lots of big money. I said, I know, you make cash, but I make cash flow. So now those guys are all buddies. So we turned up into Sydney. I sent them their little books. 4 of them have come to my 3-day workshop. You see how this works? There's money everywhere. A lot of you turn it on and off. Like you turn your life on and off, personal, professional. You always have a life. You're always on and you're always making money. Can you imagine literally being dropped in any country of the world? I can guarantee some of you, it'd be so much fun to do it with you, and you make money in an hour. Come on. Some of you, now I just felt like she's the crazy woman up there. No, I'm not. I'm totally serious. So we'd all sell the same thing. What would we all sell? Yeah, you could sell my seminar if you want, but why wouldn't you sell your seminar? You'd sell yourself. So you'd sell your knowledge, right? So you'd sell your own knowledge. See, the only difference between you and I is that I've taken my brain and I put it into 5 books. I actually have 21 books, 5 are the big ones. Right? So the only difference between you and I is I've taken my knowledge and put it in a way that you can buy it from me. See, what you need to do is take your knowledge and put it in a way that I can buy it from you and everybody else. Because I would bet if you all got to know each other, you all could help each other a lot. Don't you think so? Aren't you all good at something? Yes? That would be the yes part. Now, you may not know how to make money at the thing you're good at, and that's where I'm your new best friend. I'm going to teach you how to make money doing the things you're really good at. You're not going to learn anything new. You're not going to school to learn some trade. You're going to do what you know how to do. I have a music teacher here in Australia. She was teaching music for $20 an hour, 20. We taught her how to do video stream technology so she could teach piano anywhere in the world. So now she has video cameras on her hands in her home, and she has upward of 100 people for $20 an hour, now making $2,000 an hour from her home. You guys see the difference? Like, I see and know stuff that we could just put into your lives and your businesses and more money would come. You guys get it now? So I finally quit my job, got rid of that thing. Then I became a single mom. That was very exciting. So some of you, you have these moments in your life. So I had a fun boyfriend at the time, and I said, oh my gosh, we're going to have a baby. He said, no, you're going to, or not. I said, oh no, I'm going to have this child. He said, well, I'm not going to be a part of it. I'm, not ready. And I said, well, I'm going to do it. So that was the moment that I think I was probably like a lot of you, where I had a lot of pieces of the puzzle. I always knew how to make money. That's always just been a gift. But I was messing around. Like, I wasn't really incorporated, and I wasn't doing all the tax strategies, and I was spending and traveling, and I'm an amazing black diamond skier. I heli ski all over the world, so I'd spend my money just playing. And then that moment happened. And this was 1999. And so I had 9 months to get it together, right? Kind of not a variable time frame that you can mess with, right? It's 9 months and we got to go. And I lived in a beautiful home in San Francisco. I was not moving back to Nebraska to the cornfield. So I called, and here's what you guys, right, here's really the lesson. I said the biggest lesson is I got all those puzzle pieces, and I got them in the right order with the right mentor. And in 6 months became a millionaire. You guys get that? So that's my hope for you, is to really take this on seriously. I know how to do this. I know it in my sleep. You notice I don't have any notes. I'm not scripted. I'm just talking straight to you and having a conversation about what I know is possible for every one of you. But you got to get serious. So the question is, when are you going to get serious? Yeah, now, today would be the day. Like, seriously, right? Or you can wait for some urgent moment like mine and then give yourself a crunch timeline. So mine was 9 months. I did it in 6 months. And I called somebody 20 years my senior, and I said, I need you to help me become a millionaire. And he said, well, you've had all the pieces. You've just been screwing around. I said, no kidding. See, I told you I wasn't scripted. I just kind of made that up. So I said, yeah, I was kind of just messing around, playing. And he said, so you have a lot. And that's you, isn't it? Don't you have a lot of the pieces of the puzzle? Right? You have the business maybe working, it needs some tweaking. Some of the investing things are working. Your entity and tax stuff's working. When you get structured internationally, where you don't have just one company in one country, your entire tax basis changes like you've never seen in your life. And some of you say, well, I don't know what that all means. I know, but I do. And I know enough to be really smart about it. And then I'm going to introduce you to the most amazing people who set me up internationally. That makes sense? You get my Rolodex when you come and play, because some of you need it. And you get set like that. So the question is, how many of you want to not only quit your job quick? Remember, you don't have fixed potential, so stop that fixed income. And I also don't want you leaving this workshop and crazily go quit your job. Just get organized so you're starting to make extra money. And then when you're ready, you go. And if I'm working with you, we're going to do it in 120 days. I can't wait. Your kids will thank you forever. Okay, so that was my fun say yes moment. And then the last, probably biggest one has become not only being a one-time bestseller, but I did 5 bestsellers in 7 years. And then when I wanted to do Australia, I just made that up. I just said, you know what, we should be a bestseller in Australia. So I came over here to a lot of smart people, and I said, so how do you become a bestseller in Australia? And they said, well, we don't know. I said, well, we're going to figure that out. And we did. So I want to just help you, like, say yes everywhere. So here's what say yes means. So back to your notes. Yes is a non-negotiable commitment. You guys get that? Non-negotiable. So once you say yes to this work and really being a millionaire and really doing entrepreneurial, like, wealth building properly, you don't go back and forth. You don't start and stop. You start and you go for the rest of your life, and then you pass it on to generations. I have a 92-year-old student, and he's so frustrated with his children because they're being very irresponsible. And I said, well, it's because you keep giving them money and they don't know what to do with it. So you got to educate your generations if you're really going to do this. And he is coming to give it all to charity. He said, I'm not going to give it to my kids because they won't get educated. I love that. I said, I'll be your child. Just adopt me. I'm all good. All right, so I want to help you get your knowledge. And even if you don't become a bestseller, you could be online, get your ebooks online. Like, let's figure out a way where every day, no matter what you're doing, on and offline, you make some money. Is that a deal? How many of you want to do that? How many of you listen and go, oh, that's too much work? It's a little bit of work. I'm not going to lie to you. I am not one of those people who, you know, those little infomercial people who say, oh, you do it overnight and it's simple. It is simple, but it's going to take some, and here's the work it's going to take for you, is you have to stop doing so much. How about that? See, some of you, like you little control freaks, nobody can do it better than me. I'm the only most important person in my life. Right? So we have to get over all those dramas. We don't do a lot of therapy. We do it in about 2 minutes. You can tell by my intensity. We just get to it. You just have to let me do it. All right, here's what I want you to do. Here's another homework assignment. Turn, new page, clean page. This was really fun. I want you to write down these areas of your life. Your family, your health, your legacy, your relationships, your goals, your dreams. How much would it cost you to live without compromise that life? How much would it cost to have your family live where you want? Like, I live in Lake Tahoe, Nevada, which is not an easy place to get to. It is way deep in the mountains. So those of you, I know you all love Las Vegas, like a lot of Australians do. I think it's the most disgusting little dirty place, but whatever. So Las Vegas is down, like this is LA, Las Vegas, San Francisco, Lake Tahoe, right? So we're kind of all, I live at 7,200 feet. I live deep in the mountains. I ski all the time. I ski 6 months of the year. And we play on the lake. My son is in the Junior Olympic ski team. I mean, we play and we live because we want to live there. Is it easy to live there? No. Is it easy to find talent to work in a business there? No. They're either high or skiing. Like, to find smart people, you have to import them in. It's like the most challenging place to live, but I don't care, I want to live there. So my point in sharing that is, are you living where you want to live? Are you compromising? Is your kids going to the school that you want them to? Is your health the way you want? Right? Is the legacy set up for what you want to do? Like, my legacy is to change this conversation about money. We're in the most horrible conversation about industrial age models, because you can either save and scrimp and do it hard or just do it quick. And what I'm teaching you isn't any fancy tricks. It's been taught for literally decades and decades and decades. I mean, your country and our country was founded on entrepreneurship, not on jobs. We're the ones that should be creating the jobs or the contracts to have people be free. Right? That's ultimate freedom, is your ability to make your own money. So this is another homework. I want you, and you won't do it, maybe in the next few hours. Hopefully you'll wake up in the middle of the night and think about this. I always know that I've really impacted you if you wake up in the middle of the night and you're creating and thinking. I love that if you don't sleep. Not really. But I want you to do this if you've never done this. I want you to write down everything from how you drive to how you'd fly. In America, I have a private plane. I don't fly commercial in America. It's horrible. And that's actually how I chose to live in Tahoe. I have my own plane. It's 20 minutes from my house. Right? Otherwise, the airport's 2 hours from my house. I'm not going to go down hours in advance in crappy little commercial. You guys have a way better commercial system than we do. If you've ever flown through America, it's a disaster. But it's literally from how you fly to you drive to the schools. If you could design the life you want, what would it cost you? That's your homework. What would it cost you to have your life? How much a month would it cost you to have the life you want? 50,000, 100,000? Will you do that? Promise? By tomorrow, we're going to have a booth out here so you can come and chat. Tell me your number. How many of you are willing to do it by tomorrow? Who has the biggest number? Yeah, I bet a lot of you are going to be surprised that it's going to turn up towards 100 grand a month. You're going to be, oh my God, that's a lot. That's not, you just have to learn to make it. See, the only reason, how many of you have credit card debt? See, the only reason you have credit card debt is because you haven't learned to make the money to have the life you want. So you have the life you want anyway, and you put the rest on a credit card because you don't know how to make the money. Right? It's a far better system, just learn how to make the money. So when I have the private plane and I figured out how I'm going to live in Tahoe, I knew that was part of the deal. Sort of like becoming a single mom living in San Francisco. I knew a nanny had to come with it. Like, somebody's got to do this. I'm not going to just be home. I mean, I have people who travel with me. I take my kids with me. They help homeschool my kids. I grew up in a tribe, so it's not hard to have a tribe. You guys get it? It's okay to have a tribe. You guys know what that means? It's just a whole bunch of people around you all the time. So I grew up with hundreds and hundreds in our family. Right? Remember, we had to work a farm. It's exciting. All right, so to have what you want, here's a couple things you need to put right next to that homework assignment. I want you to check in with yourself when you do this. You need to stop tolerating. You need to stop avoiding. Like, some of you are avoiding firing your negative friends. You just need to go get that handled. Some of you are avoiding getting healthy, and you use your health as an excuse. Get healthy, right? Some of you are avoiding or blaming people, like your parents. Again, you're adults, grow up. Just take care of that. And I say that harshly, with care, and there's a reason I was Dr. Phil's money expert, because it's that, how's it working for you kind of thing. So we're going to get to it very quickly. And then a lot of you have a lot of excuses, right? So I want you noticing as you do your homework, like how designing the life you want, starting to think about the business. So what we do at the workshop is we take you from, if you don't know what you're doing, we'll help you figure it out. If you already know what you're doing, we help you create consistent cash. And I'm going to take you through my model in just a moment. But as you think through the homework I've given you, you've really got to watch your excuses and your stories. And I also want you to make those lists of the things that you're no good at, but you're going to hire a bunch of people. And I know today you say, well, I don't know how I'm going to hire those people. I don't have enough money. I know, but we're going to teach you how to make the money to have it. Think how freed up your life's going to be when you're hiring a cool team around you to help you. How many of you, when I say team and get help, it feels like a good thing? How many of you, when I say team and get help, feels like that's a weak thing and, oh my gosh, I have to have people in my life? You're not voting. You're not going to tell me. Some of you aren't telling me anything. All right. So let's move on to your business. You ready now? So, yes? Yep. How many of you want to make money every day? Yes. On and offline? Okay, so here's the steps we're going to go through at the workshop, and we're going to start now so you can go through some of them right now. So the first is you got to do what you know how to do. There's such a myth about learning something new. You all already have gifts and talents. And some of you say, well, I don't like my gifts and talents. Well, that's what you got. Go back and have a chat with God about that. But you got what you got, right? One of my gifts is transferring knowledge. I taught people health and fitness for a long time, and I've been teaching people health and about wealth and wealth creation and entrepreneurialism now for 16 years. I'm the only person in the world that when you go to my workshop, you're guaranteed to make money or you get your tuition back. And why am I the only person that guarantees you money? Because I made it up. Right? Why did I make it up? Because in any economy, I mean, we just lived through the Greatest Depression. So in 2007 is when I made up this model. And the model is as long as you knew how to make money every day, right? As long as you knew how to make money every day, you'd survive. The American foreclosures in the homes, each family, you ready for this number? You'd be staggering. Every family that went into foreclosure, the average household only needed an extra $782 to not be in foreclosure. $782. Do you know how little that is? So what's pathetic about that state is that they didn't know how to make $782. And that's when I wrote Put More Cash in Your Pocket. I said, if I can help households make $1,000 to keep their house, hell, if I can teach you how to make 1,000, 2,000 is quick, right? So think about it like this, and I want you to write this formula down and start playing with this between now and the next time I see you. I want you to write this formula. It's called 12-4-5. I like how some of you smile back at me when I tell you that we're going to work together like you don't think we are. Like, it's cute, we are. So, right? If you want to make money, we're going to work together. So 12-4-5 is this, 12 months, 4 weeks, 5 days. So just think about it in super easy terms. Let's just say we're going to build a $120,000 business, right? Is that an easy beginning one? And if you've already built that, then we'll go higher. But if you've never done 100,000 consistently, you aren't going to become a millionaire. You've got to learn to make money. So if you did 120,000 divided by 12 months is how much? Come on, do the math. 10,000 a month. And then divide by 4 weeks. 2.5, right? So 2,500. Divide by 5 days. 500 a day. There's not one of you that can't figure out how to make 500 a day. So I want you thinking is, what would I do to produce 500 bucks a day? And that's in your household, right? And then what would your kids do to produce that kind of money? If a child can make a $500 to $1,000 business, a teenager, that is a great teenage business. And that's only 50 bucks a day, right? $1,200 a month is an extra 50 bucks a day. So for some of you, that might be where you start. For some of you, you say 500, that's not enough. If you want $1 million company, you ready for the daily number? Write this down just for the fun of it. Right, $1 million business, you'll be generating $4,160 a day. Some of you, that's not hard. You could do $4,160 bucks. That's easy. We do that on the internet. Like, we get that part done just on the internet, much less what gets done everywhere else in the world. Do you guys get it? Is your first million the hardest million, or your first 100,000 as an entrepreneur your hardest 100? Which is the hardest thing to do? The first 100, you're right. So if you didn't get that right, that is the right answer. Why is the first 100,000 the toughest 100? Yeah, you got to start, and what else? And as you start, do you know what the heck you're doing? No, you're stumbling around, you're trying to figure it out. You're on Facebook for 4 hours a day, screwing that up. I mean, right? It's true. You don't know what you're really doing, so you just do a whole bunch of busy work because it feels like you're working, right? So let me just tell you, ready for this list I was telling you? Here's another list. You ready? Ready, yes or no? Yes. Okay, so ready. Every company is going to do this thing. We're going to do what you know how to do. We're going to do a 12-4-5, figure out your daily amount, and we're going to follow someone else. So here's what we're going to do when we follow someone else. You're all going to have 6 functions of a company. Okay, you ready? No matter what you do. And I have worked with jewelry designers to a woman in Melbourne who's a single mom of 5 kids, has one of the healthiest bars in the world. We're helping her take that all over the world in distribution. I've worked with, like I said, the piano teachers, dog walkers. I have a woman in New York who sings at dog funerals. She makes hundreds of thousands of dollars singing. If she can make money, for God's sakes, all of you can. And she's not that good. She started singing at the seminar. I was like, Anyway, it's cute. So if she can do it, you can do it. A bunch of the folks that do the Dancing with the Stars down in Melbourne, they're students of ours. They taught dance lessons. I mean, I don't care what it is you do. I guarantee we're going to make you money. It's so much fun. And why I'm so good at it is because I'm in front of 100, 200 people a month teaching you how to make money. There's not a business I haven't seen. If you're an engineer or you're in the military, you're like my two most challenging humans. And the reason is the military's trained you to be so rigorous about figuring everything out before you move and being told what to do that like say yes freedom has got to like come back in your body. So that takes a little work. And then you engineers, I don't know what they do to you in school. But God, you get so regimented. Everything's like so many rules. And we're going to break a lot of rules, not in an illegal way, but in a smart business way. So here we go. No matter what the business is, number one, you're going to learn to market. You're going to have on and offline marketing. Marketing is about getting names, phone numbers, and emails of people interested in you. That make sense? Yes? My little clock's ticking down. I got to talk fast. Okay, marketing, getting a whole bunch of people interested. What do you do once you get people interested? What's the next function of every business, no matter what it is? Sell them. When do you want to start? How do you want to pay? So what you'll get to know about me is, like I didn't know anything about marketing and sales. And by the way, all my successes happened in about 7 years since I started writing books. So, and I share that because you can do it as fast as I can do it. In fact, now that I'm your new mentor and coach, we'll do it faster. I kind of took the slow route. That was funny, by the way. So marketing and sales is nothing that I grew up with or knew, right? I knew how to be a great teacher, a great healer. I knew how to do a lot of those things, but I didn't know how to market and sell. And you become really good at marketing and selling. And what you'll also notice is that I very transparently sell, very assertively, don't I? Does it make you uncomfortable? I'm not going to stop. I'm just curious. I haven't really even turned up my firepower yet. I've just told you I'll go in my workshop, right? So why would I do that? And why do I do it? It's very intentional. To shift your mindset. I'm modeling, aren't I? Because like all of you need to learn to present. Now you don't have to do it in front of large audiences and stages, but even if you sat around a dinner table or a lunch table or just a conference table, could you sell? And if you only took home 5% of what you watched me do tonight with you, if you only just started taking some of the things that and modeled me, you'd start making money. Like when's the last time you called back your customers and then you said, when are you going to start and how are you going to pay? And some of you, the biggest excuse, you'll say, well, go to my website. That's not selling, that's chicken. Right? Sending somebody away to your website. And then how many of you, again, let's just vote again, how many of you really want to make money? You really want to do what I'm talking about? Become a great entrepreneur. So one of the other things you need to do is you need to be able to receive credit cards. You need merchant services. Right? So we're going to set you up for the most micro, tactical little things that create cash and get all the barriers out of the way. So when you market and you sell, what's the next thing that comes in every business? Right? You've marketed, you sold. What's the next function? Accounting. You got to put the money in the bank. You have to do inventory. Notice that you haven't fulfilled anything in a proper business model. You guys sorted that out yet? You've marketed, you've sold, and you put money in the bank. Then you fulfill, number 4 is you fulfill the thing that they bought. Now for some of you, that's got to tangle your whole mind up. So when we opened and reopened our salon, so the salon was bankrupt, it had closed. And we went to the owner and we said, so here's the deal. If 3 of us come in with a little bit of money and pick up your little business and we take most of it, we'll give you 10% ownership. She's like, 10%? I said, it's 10% of a business. Right now you have nothing. Right now you're 0. And we're going to come in and let you have a part of it because you know how to run the salon. We know how to run the business. So here's the most important thing, and I'm just sharing this one. I'll share a few examples in this category of you market, you sell, you make money, then you fulfill. Do you guys all get that? I have to keep repeating that because most of you, your brain should be fighting that if you're in business. Because most of you, you fulfill and you've not made any money and you hope you get paid. And it's why your business doesn't work. So in our salon, it's a $20 appointment fee no matter what the appointment's for. If you want an appointment to have your hair, your facial, waxing, whatever you want done, it's $20. If you don't turn up, we keep your $20. If you turn up, it applies to your service. Why do we do that? Because we're done getting stood up. I want a profitable business, I want money up front. Like massage therapists, if you're a massage therapist, how many people in any kind of service-based business, from a handyman, dog walking, cooking, cleaning, most people get paid after. Why do you do that to yourself? You work your ass off and then you hope you get paid. It's so stupid. Do you guys see what I mean by breaking rules? We're going to break and fix and modify that you have cash because your business works and you have new rules in your business. So what we do during the 3 days really is we clean your business up. And some of you, we got to get you a business. But a lot of you, we clean you up. We clean up your pricing. Some of you don't price properly. Women, you always, women complain all the time that they don't make as much as men. Well, then charge. I make as much or more than my male counterparts. Right? And it hasn't been easy doing it. This is a male industry. If you haven't noticed, I'm the first woman on the stage all day. Right? It's taken a while to push it. Thank you. But all of you can do it. All of you can do it, but you've got to fix your business. I have a London restaurant. This was one of my coolest stories because Nick's been with us for years and years. And by the way, once you come into our community, you just don't ever leave. You're just kind of part of us. You just always hang out because we're always investing together. We're planning together. And so Nick, when he came, he wanted to be in, when you go to a big city, and so you go to London, his castle is a restaurant, and it's 7 hours outside of London. He wanted to be in that London book. When people turn up to London, it's like the places to see book. I said, well, then that's a great goal. Let's do it. And he's like, oh, it's just a dream. I said, then let's do it. He said, oh, it won't happen. I said, if I have to convince you, we've got the wrong conversation. You need to get with it. So he said, all right, let's do it. I said, so the first thing, you're going to change your prices. He said, what do you mean I'm going to change my prices? I said, if people want to reserve a table at your castle, they're going to pay you $50 for a reservation fee. He said, well, they may not come. You see the scarcity and the fear behind that? I said, but when you become booked months and months in advance, people will pay $100 for a reservation. You have to change the way the whole thing. He's booked 6 months in advance, full out, and if it's $100 for a reservation fee, that's applied to your bill. So you can see the level that the restaurant is, right? So he is 7 times more profitable, and now he's an international restaurant consultant. Do you guys get it? So I'm going to ask you to do some things that are going to feel risky, but they're smart. They're just smart business people. Like, think about it. Pre-sales. How many of you pre-sold? I pre-sold 32,000 Yes Energy books before it came on the shelves. So 32,000 times $25, that's a little bit of money, isn't it? I had all that money in my bank. I launched rich, right? So a lot of you, you launch poor. You write your books, and then you one day say, okay, my book's available. Well, who cares? Nobody knew about it. You should have been selling that book for months. Right? For months and months and months. I mean, what is Apple? Apple's brilliant at pre-sales. They get all your money for the iPhone 5, and so I'm sure there'll be an iPad 4, right? They're going to get all the money. They're going to get millions and millions of dollars. Then they're going to ship it to China. They're going to make the things and deliver it, and they all launch rich. They keep the margin. That's called being an entrepreneur. You guys get it? So the problem is most of you, us, we've all been taught wrong. I mean, I have a finance degree. I didn't learn any of this stuff. It's the real practical stuff. You're going to market. You're going to sell. You're going to put money in the bank. Then you're going to fulfill. Then you're going to do customer service and follow up, right? Which is a revenue model that's going to follow up. And what does a proper revenue model do? Sells you something else. If you bought something from me, I would call and say, so how'd you like that thing? You'll say, it was fabulous. I'll say, well, here's the next thing. And you'll say, I want one of those too. And I sell you another one and another one and another one. So my point in that is many of you, you don't have stuff to sell. So sell someone else's stuff and sell a lot of stuff. Some of you don't sell enough stuff, like network marketers. I own a couple network marketing companies. I love network marketing. But most of the network marketing companies don't monetize a lot, right? So the way I want you thinking about your business between now and when we see each other is it's like dating, right? So you want to take people on a few dates, and then eventually you want to get married, right? And that's called a long-term customer, a reoccurring customer. So I have some girls in Sydney that do jewelry. And their long-term customer is that you buy jewelry from them every other month on auto ship. You guys getting it? Yes? No? Am I confusing you? Do you have a little bit to learn? I can't wait to fix your business. It's so easy. The 6th thing of every company is technology. So if you have your list of 6, it should be what? Say them out loud with me. Marketing? Sales? Accounting? Fulfillment, do the thing you've sold. Customer service, follow up to the next sale. And then the last is technology. We got to sort that out. So we're going to figure out a revenue model, and then we're going to put a marketing plan, and we're going to put a sales plan. I love the day where you turn back and look at me and say, I hated sales before I met you, and now I love selling. And here's how I'm going to have that switch happen for you. You guys ready? Turn a new page. I want you to write down this word. Selling is service when you do it right. So here's what I know, right, is that you're all really good at something, aren't you? Yes or no? Are you good at something? And there's somebody buying your thing from someone else, isn't there? So why isn't the money going to you versus your competitors or the people that do what you do? That would be that part you talk back to me. I know it's late, but come on. Why do people buy from other people in the same category and not buy from you? USP. What? USP. Yes, your unique selling proposition. It's bigger than that. You can have a crap USP because you never asked. Right? Most of you don't ask for the money. You just hope to God that somebody comes and turns up for you. So I need you to start asking for cash in a very purposeful way. Now, here's why you need to ask for money. Right? So you write that down. Here's why I will ask for money. I make you write that down because some of you are ignoring me right now. You're in the sales department, and the minute I said the word sales, you shut off. Right? So selling is service if you're really good. So are you really good? Like, I know I'm the best in the world at what I do. I know that. Not arrogantly, I just know. I help more people make money with guarantees. I'm actually the only one. You're going to make money in a workshop guaranteed. Is that the coolest thing? Like, do you know how excited I am? That you get to make tons of money. It's so awesome, right? And if you're good at what you do, are you selling or are you serving? You're serving. So aren't you ripping him off because you got chicken when it gets to the sales process? Do you guys get that? They're buying from somebody else. And if they're buying something substandard to what you do, because you're going to spend money, right? Like, you all are going to spend some money. So, like, who's going to teach you how to make the money? I am. Now, here's the deal. If you choose somebody else's little USP pitch and you go there, then the problem is if I served you weekly, and you went somewhere else, I get back somebody who has less money because they're not guaranteeing you money. I get somebody back more cynical. Oh, I've done programs like yours. No, you've never even met the likes of me, right? But I want you to take that on. Like, whatever it is that you do. If you're a dog walker and you let somebody else that just casually takes care of the dogs, not as good as you take care of the dogs, and you let them have the money because you were too scared to sell, I think you ripped off that customer because you got chicken. Do you guys get it? So if you're really good, I think you need to serve, which means you need to sell. You guys got that all lined up? How many of you are excited about that? How many of you gives you a little freedom to go for it now? Because some of you don't go for it. You get really backed up around the whole sales thing, so we're going to fix that for you. Now, the things you absolutely have to make money are 5 things. You got to have an identity. So if I looked you up on the internet, I only want to see one thing. If you look me up on the internet, you're going to see I'm an expert in money and business, right? It's one thing. So if you have a bunch of things that you're working on, we got to clean it up and get it under one umbrella or one identity. You got to have one identity when you build your business. You have to know what you're going to sell. So the reason I can do that thing on the airplane where I can buy, get $80 and sell those 8 books is because I know what to sell. Like, how many of you have businesses right now? Raise your hand. All right, so if I was going to buy something from you right now, what would you sell me? Telecommunications? What? Are you an ACN? Oh, I knew that and I just saw your jacket. Okay, so but what is that? Like, how much is that? Do you see, like, right now, it's a big category, but you don't have an offer, right? You would say, I'm going to sell you this, this, and this, and it's $100, right? So some of you got to get an offer that's quick. And the worst thing you can do, and everybody in Australia likes going to coffees. Let's go to coffee, we'll chat about it. No, I want money now. Do you guys get it? So one of my students just recently, she's going to do a, what did she call it? Oh, coffees on the phone. How to have coffees on the phone so she doesn't have to waste her time running around having coffees, chatting about why she wants to sell. See, you guys get it? Like, going to coffee to me is an excuse to not just get the sale done. If you're going to go to coffee, just go to coffee. Don't mix them all up. You guys don't look very excited anymore. Are you thinking or are you bored all of a sudden? You're quiet. You're thinking? Are you excited? I love this stuff. This is the best conversation in the world. Okay, you got to know what you're selling. You got to have an influential offer, so you have to have an offer right now. Now, here's the thing. If you've been paying attention about those middle 2, is it better to get 100 people giving you $200 No, let's say 20 bucks. That's even better. 100 people giving you 20 bucks. How much is that? $2,000. Or one person giving you 2,000. Which is the better business model? One person giving you 2,000 is a better business model than 100 giving you 20. Gong. Wrong answer. So I want to explain it though. Why is having 100 people give you $20 a better business model and a more sustainable cash flow model? Because you can sell them more stuff, right? So once you buy the books, then you get to buy the workshops, then you buy the coaching, then you get to buy, then you get to buy. So network marketers, you got to get people buying a lot of stuff, right? Once you get somebody cleaning your house, get them cleaning your house every month. Bookkeepers get paid every month. Web designers get paid every month. Writers get paid every month. That's called retainers. It's so good. Some of you work so hard for your money, it's just because your business model isn't right. So that's what we're going to fix. And then you got to talk to an enormous amount of people. How many of you, just by listening and kind of sorting through what you're doing, you realize that you don't talk to people and you don't ask for money? Those are actually your biggest two problems. Yeah, that's what and most businesses, getting to that 100,000 is a lot. It's a lot of work. But here's the cool news. You ready for some really, really, really good news? Really, really, really? Once you get to 100, guess what? You're supposed to say, what? It is really easy. No, going from 100 to 500 is like that. It's actually 3 moves. Going from 500 to 1 million should happen in a year. Once we can get you to 100, then you can start a doubling. You can go 100. Like my growth was 180 to 360, 360 to 780, 780 to 1.8 million. Then I went to 3.8 million. I went all the way to 24 million in a straight run. I know. It was so damn fun. That's why I know how to do it. And some of you work so hard. You know that I've already worked so hard. That's why I'm so passionate about it. When I watch you work so hard, it's like, oh, you don't have to. But you got to get stuff in the right order. Sequence, sequence, sequence. You guys get that? And you got to sell a lot of stuff. If you don't have stuff to sell, remember my first 5 years, who did I sell? Kiyosaki. I didn't have stuff. Right? So being an entrepreneur is selling stuff. It doesn't have to be your stuff. Some of you don't have stuff. It takes a while to make up stuff. But sell other people's stuff. All right? So once we teach you how to make money, here's where those doubles come from. It's called additive revenue. So I got to get going. My little timer's clicking down. I had a wedding planner making $4,000 a wedding. I said, I can quadruple you, at least triple you, but you got to do everything I say. And what did she say to this lady's point? Maybe. I said, no maybes. You have to do everything I say. So there's no maybes, just do it. I said, go look at, she gives all of her people, so people sign up for a wedding, it's $4,000. And she gives them this list, not the money, the list. And she said, use this person, use Susie for the wedding dress and so for the bridal shower and la, la, la. She gives all these referrals. And I said, well, they pay you, don't they? And she said, oh no, we're just girlfriends. Such a girlfriend thing. I know that I came here to teach us in a woman's body so I can make fun of us women. Because we do the stupidest business things and wonder why we don't get paid, right? We do. So I said, go look at your bookkeeping and see if any of these people that you refer to refer back to you. She said, well, I don't want to do it. I said, just do it. So she goes and does it. And then she comes back and she said, oh my gosh, you're right. Nobody refers to me. I said, so go ask them for money. I said, just look at this. If all they did is pay you $300, that's 20 vendors, $300, you make an extra $6,000 a wedding. And that's not the number. Like photography usually comes in at what, 7,000, 8,000 for a wedding with videos and all that stuff. I said they should pay you at least 10 or 15%. So now on average, she makes $13,000 a wedding just by one move, getting joint ventures. That makes sense? So you get, it's like when I said earlier, money's at your feet, you're just not picking it up. It is everywhere. So my job is to help you sort out where's the money in your life. It's everywhere. And then once you get it, then you can start investing. You can do shares. You can do all the property we're talking about. But if you don't have any money, all this is a great idea. The core source of all issues. And if you already are like making some money, then let's make more. Like I love taking $1 million companies to like really big millions. I had a girl, I spoke at the Commonwealth Bank for Women just recently, last month actually. I had this girl, she's 28 years old. She said, I make 18 million. Can you make me a billionaire? I said, yeah, let's go for it. Don't you love that? 28, I love that thinking. I don't know how we're gonna sort that all out, but I said, yeah, we're gonna go. I don't know if she's willing to do what we're gonna do, but we're gonna do it. Do you see, like, business is about just creating and being fun and challenging. Some of you take it on so seriously, you're scared to death of it. And what I really know is you're not scared of failing. That's what you mentioned earlier. You're scared to death of being amazingly successful. Because with a success comes a responsibility about money. But I can tell you one thing, everybody I know that makes money gives back the most in their life. And you'll be able to create so much. Because at some point, once your needs are met, is it really about the money anymore? No, it's about having fun. Like for me, it's helping you guys design businesses. I love putting my hands on all sorts of businesses. It's the most fun, creative thing ever. So I want to help you and just do this. Fun, fun, fun. So you know you deserve it. You know you're worth the money, right? Yes or no? You really worth it? Are you willing to do everything I say? See, the answer should be yes, I'll organize doing it all, but I'm not doing it all. Right? The minute that any of you get really deep in your business, you tangle it up. Like I have a marketing department, a marketing manager. I have sales managers in multiple continents. I have fulfillment coach managers. I have big table managers. I have this 3-day workshop managers. If I got down into the minutia of all the things that they're trained and really, really good at, I'd screw up their part. My part's my part, their part's their part. So y'all got to organize that. And I tell you, for really successful entrepreneurs, the reason that I'm freed up to go buy companies is because I have a great team. So your job in your company, how many of you have good companies right now? They just need to get better. You have a good company, but it could get better. So here's your homework. You ready for one more homework for you that are already making some money? Yes? It's big. Okay, you don't have to do it. Oh, God, I'm going to make you talk to me. All right, so you ready? This is my funnest homework assignment for those of you making money already. Design the level of business that you want, $1 million, $2 million, $10 million, $20 million business. Design the organization chart and you're not in it. Look, did you hear some tremors go on? Oh, you can't live without me. Yes, it can. It's perfect. I go home to America, and 3 to 7 weeks can go by before I'm back here, and my office is fine. It doesn't need me. In fact, there's many trips that I come here, and I don't have time to go to the office because I'm out traveling and doing other things and meeting with students, investing, playing. So you cannot make yourself so necessary. Okay, and you say, well, what if these team members rip me off? We give you really good contracts. And I have great Australian contracts, Mexico contracts. We have contracts in all the parts of the world that we do business. So my job is to teach you how to use the money, earn it, accumulate it, invest it, and spend it, manage it like a pro. And you need to stop doing stuff for free. Have charity rules and money rules. We give to charity. We give over $1 million to teenage education every year in financial literacy. We have to. Thank you. It's so good. And you guys help. So the way we have you help with that is you got to bring a team. Bring a team, they're awesome. They will outsell you, by the way. So the kind of things that happen at the 3-day workshop is I'm there. And you say, well, why is that a big deal? Because I'm sure a lot of you have had a lot of Americans rock up over here and don't know your language. My American folks want to know how come I talk funny like you. Because I'm here more frequently and I like your language better. So the reason that I put this up here is I think it's really important that you know that I'm there. A lot of you have bought a lot of other people's work, I'm sure, and they're not there. And I don't know why you tolerate that. If you want to be mentored by a really good mentor, then it should be the mentor. Up to you, my rule. So I'm not paying somebody to be my mentor and then get their sub. That's hoping to be them. If you want to be coached by a multimillionaire, you get me. So you get a bunch of my students as well that come along. So the way that I work it is I teach the concepts, and we go you in small groups of 10, very small and intimate. We work on your business. We go back for big concepts, back work on it. So we're back and forth working. We're working on a 6-figure business. Anything less than 6 figures is a pain in the rear. It's not even worth your time. Keep a job. And then we work on who are the most important team members that you need, because you all don't need the same team members. And then we confirm your business model. So the 4 levels mean you're going to sell at least 4 things in your company. You can't just sell one thing. You can't just say, well, I'm going to sell a book. I'm going to sell a lotion or a potion or a piece of jewelry. You got to sell a lot of stuff. 35 points of tactical actions. I give you everything in the right order, number 1 through 35, and exactly what to do. So once you leave the workshop, you keep making money, because you're all guaranteed to make money at the workshop. Most of you will do it organically. Some of you will have to be forced. But I've never given money back, but my guarantee is that everybody makes money. So some of you will whine and cry and call me names, and I'll win, and you'll just make money. So I'm glad you guys laugh about that, but here's really what happens with people that need to be forced, is you don't feel like you deserve it, and your receiving money is your problem. So that's pretty big stuff, but we'll do therapy in about 7 minutes. We'll get over it. Okay? We're going to go through 60 ways to make money on and offline for marketing because you got to generate leads. And then this is the biggest one, a new client in this economy. Because my goal in learning to make money, if you haven't sorted this out, is that no matter what the economy is, if you know how to make money, you will always be safe. You guys get that? Every American that I've ever worked with, once they've learned to make money, stabilize their family income. So you can't count on a job. You got to count on yourself. The minute you become redundant, you're going to wish you took this on now. So if there's 100 people in our class, which is about norm, sometimes 150, and it takes $300 to get a new client, you're going to get $30,000 worth of new people in your directory. And if you don't have a directory, you're going to learn the power of having a database. So far to date, in the last maybe 2-3 years, 1.6 million have been made between our students. In fact, we have a few of our fabulous students. Where's James and Declan? Are they around? Can you guys grab a mic?
Yeah, sure.
There's that, Declan? All right, so Myron made $12,500. Mike Mullen, who's a trucker, he only made a little at the workshop, but once he continued the technology that I taught, he made $1.2 million in the next 12 months. This gentleman back here who will be with us, his name's Declan Barnett, he made $41,884 in 3 days. So all the Australians kick Americans' asses, which I love coming here. So what would you tell them? And James, you got second place, right? What'd you make, 18?
24,000.
24,000 in 3 days. So these aren't just like casual, let's make some money. So tell them a little bit about why they have to be there.
Well, normally when you go to a 3-day seminar, you sit there and listen to information. You don't get to actually make money in the 3 days that you're there. The first day for me, I didn't make a dime. And I had to have a few mental breakthroughs first. But the last 2 days were just magic. And then even the week after that, the total week was about $100,000 for the week.
So in about 7 days, by using everything you learned, you made about 100,000?
Absolutely, and everything that you've taught me was fast tracking. I saw you 6 years ago in Orange County, and I wish I'd done that workshop back then. I could have fast tracked 6 years of development in those 3 days.
Did you guys hear that? So met me 6 years ago, wasn't ready or had some story. We just re-met in March. And how much have you made since March, you think? What's it done for you?
Lots.
How much do you make a month now? Do you care to tell him?
Sort of in my net worth has increased by a couple of $1 million.
Yeah. I'm telling you, thank you. And James made 24,000. And some of you say, well, that's a lot of money. It is, but it's sitting right next to you. All you have to do is shift a few things. As Declan said, he didn't do anything the first day but pout, and he was just being like, meh. I don't like your model. I'm going to go home. He didn't.
Loral?
Yeah.
I just wanted to bump in because I actually know Declan from the coast. We live up on the Sunshine Coast. And he said, come along to Loral's thing. You've got to go. And I was like, no chance. Told me about what he made. But I ended up going to one of your nights. And I thought, if she's going to offer a guarantee for making money, I'm going to test that. And that's all I went for, really, just to test you out. I hope a few of these people want to test you out.
Yeah. And 24,000.
Yeah, and then probably the same as Declan. Went the first day, didn't sell a thing, had hurdles to get over in my mind, really.
Yeah.
And 24,500 in 2 days, really, not 3.
Yep, well done. Can I tell him a little bit about your background?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so he's Jeff Walker trained, one of original Jeff Walker, big, powerful internet guy. And I think the biggest breakthrough, because I remember the moment it happened, was shifting the model where you made little bits of money, because you're used to making huge heaps of money. So he's like in your 2000 big model, versus what is the little amounts of money sets up a more sustainable cash flow model for your entire life. That makes sense? So well done. Thanks for both of you coming back out and supporting. They'll be around tonight, so you can meet them. Well done, gentlemen. Thank you.
I was just going to add, Loral,
yep.
Big thank you. Since going, and it was only June, my average monthly income's doubled.
It's doubled since June?
Yeah.
See? I love that. So good. I love it. All right, so I want you, one last thing to write down. I want you to expect a yes And here's what I want you to write down. From now on, I'm going to expect a yes without any doubt. See, a lot of you expect a yes, and then you let yourself be doubted or, tolerate and compromise. I want you to start living your life. That's my challenge as I leave with you tonight, is stop doubting yourself. Because somebody else believes in you. I believe in you more than you will ever believe in yourself. And the minute you start doubting, I bring my boots for a reason. I'm going to kick you. Get you all straight. Come on. All right, so here's the deal. You got to bring a friend for free when you play. You're going to sign up tonight, and then immediately our team in Sydney will call you, say, hi, welcome to the Live Out Loud family. You're going to go into 6 business calls. You're going to get a resource site that has some contracts, some spreadsheets, a business plan, funnels, all sorts of different pricing models, things to get you ready to come. Once you go to the workshop, again, October 18, 19, 20 is in Sydney, or March 7, 8, 9 is in Sydney. Our June dates will be picked in just the next month. So you can go to any one of those. You can come to America. After the workshop, we do 2 accountability calls just to make sure you're still making money. We're going to throw in a marketing course because I want to really get you straight on marketing. Marketing is so critical. We do 66 hours, it's 88 hours of marketing in 8 weeks. So you have 11 hours of marketing training. It's all recorded, so you can always refer back to it. It's normally a $5,000 program. It's taught by our greatest marketers inside of our company. So we're going to throw that in as a bonus. So the total value, the workshop is normally $32.95 just for one ticket. You guys got that? $35, and you get your money back if you don't make money. That isn't going to happen. And if you ever decide to leave my workshop, we call you and we say, why are you giving up on yourself? Get back to the workshop. So we're super committed to you staying and making money. I've taken people on welfare and homeless through this workshop. If you're serious about it, I'm serious about it. Let me be your coach. I'll see you at the back tables. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you for having me out. Appreciate it.